Hello everybody and welcome to our channel once more. Today we have some very exciting news from the Star Wars universe. So let me break it down for you. Star Wars Theory has posted a video about having receipts that the movie we got, the sequels we got, are not the sequel plans of George Lucas. Cara Dune is coming back to The Mandalorian, and Brie Larson is set to play a Jedi Knight in a brand new Disney Plus series where she will be playing a Jedi Knight more powerful than Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader, more powerful than Luke Skywalker, and more powerful than Rey. So let's jump right into it. All right. So are the sequels we got the sequels we were meant to have? Are they George Lucas's original vision? The short answer is no. But it's a bit more complicated than that because George Lucas had to wait a long time. Therefore, some of the things he wanted to happen just couldn't logically happen anymore. So Star Wars Theory did this video, and he's quoting from an interview given in this book called The Star Wars Archives, Episode 1 through 3, 1999 to 2005, by Paul Duncan. And in this, he's asked, is the movies we got your original idea? Are you disappointed that your original ideas were not used? He says, yes, of course, but these things happen. So right there, these things happen. People take as a betrayal. You betrayed George Lucas. You didn't do his original vision. You are garbage, Disney. Only that's not what happened. You see, George Lucas's original script for this movie consisted, according to this interview, of a few years after Return of the Jedi. It would find Luke Skywalker training younglings. It would find Princess Leia trying to rebuild the political environment, trying to rebuild the government across the galaxy, ultimately becoming this chancellor-like, okay? It would have the Empire not accepting a loss, and the Empire would run off and try to rebuild themselves to become something else. So what happened? Why didn't we get that? George Lucas handed that script into him when he sold Disney. But even George Lucas knew this had to be a guideline, because a little bit of critical thinking tells you too much time has elapsed. I'm not going to go into George Lucas's personal life or anything like that. He had to think about stepping down. Several people speculate various reasons. In this interview, he gives a nice, simple reason that it was family related. So we'll go with that. But the problem with his original script was the fact of the timeline in which it takes place. And so much time had already elapsed between the prequels and the original trilogy and now the sequels that it was no longer plausible for these actors to play the parts that were intended for them to play should it be only a couple years after Return of the Jedi. Recasting is not an option. I love when people say recast Luke Skywalker, because at the end of the day, there's not anybody that's good enough to play your favorite people. I'm sorry, we're all guilty of that as movie fans. We like to sit there and go, Sebastian Stan looks just like him. Sebastian Stan would make an awesome Luke Skywalker. The second you saw Sebastian Stan on the screen, all that changes though. Because now you are judging him by the standards that you presented bar Mark Hamill. And can anybody really live up to the status of our heroes? So maybe recasting them was a bad idea. So Disney obviously thought so, so they didn't recast them. Instead, they ran with George Lucas's original vision that the Empire had gone away to rebuild themselves and become more powerful. So what became of the Empire? Well, they became the First Order. This has already been established by George Lucas. They were going to come back as something else. They hadn't given up. Luke Skywalker trained some Jedi. We saw that happen. And they just happened to train Kylo Ren, who flipped out and tried to murder all his Jedi. Well, we had to get that for the sake of, what were we going to do? Follow several Padawans in his school? It needs one type of hero. One hero. That's what we need in a movie. One hero. In Star Wars types of movies, you need a series of heroes. If all the heroes we got were Jedis, where's the special in that? For one, he already did that in the prequel series. Did they really want to go back to that formula? Well, they did go back to the one Jedi formula, which worked actually quite well, because it established that so much time had passed that not even Rey herself believed in the Force and believed Luke Skywalker was real. And then upon hearing this, well, she's like, wait a minute, now I'm a Jedi? And knowing that several people across the galaxy have these powers, they know about these powers. The most basic power any Jedi can use is a Jedi mind trick. So she tries it. And she tries it on the stormtrooper, and he laughs at her. And then she tries it again. She's like, I have the conviction to try this. I know I can do it because I have been told that I am a Jedi. So if I am a Jedi, I can use the Force and I can do this. And ultimately, she succeeds at that point. But the way we see it as fans is this is the replacement of our hero, so now we hate this person. And that's the wrong way to think about it, because a number of years had to have passed. Luke Skywalker could not be doing 27 flips, landing on an AT-AT, and smashing through it with his bare fist or with his lightsaber. He couldn't have done that because Mark Hamill is 58 years old at this point. Okay? At least. So, we got what we got because it was a necessity. Now, where Disney might have gone a little bit off the rails is they decided that since they were doing this, they were going to do the fans a noble. They were going to bring in some EU type of stuff. Well, expanded universe type of stuff. Oh my God, this is going to be great, right? One of the very early leaks that I heard about for this movie had Luke Skywalker's hand floating through space and someone was supposed to grab it. This leads me to believe that they were going to do the Luke Skywalker clone story. Which, if you don't know, it's Luke Skywalker, he's cloned, and then it's Luke with 2 U's. When they said they were doing EU stuff, I immediately went to, oh my God, okay, the Emperor's coming back because they're going to clone him. A little bit of critical thinking goes a long way. You kind of are able to see where they're going to head with it. And yes, Snoke being killed in the second movie of the trilogy was crazy. But it ultimately did prove that Snoke wasn't essential. Snoke was essential, but he wasn't our main villain. Our main villain was always meant to be Palpatine. I love when people talk about the Duel of Fate script and how much better that would have been, because you're looking at something that isn't happening. It wasn't going to happen. It was one script of about probably 100 or 200 scripts. You have to realize how many scripts come across Hollywood for movies that are being made. They send out fillers to certain directors. These directors show their vision of what they think should happen. Well, this becomes, okay, did you hit everything we want you to hit? So there were probably a couple scripts that literally didn't have Palby in it. But because Uncle Palby had to come back, people, because Uncle Palpy had to come back, we ultimately ended up with the one we got. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're one of the people that don't like it. That doesn't make you not a Star Wars fan. One thing that I love about Star Wars theory, and this is kind of where we will end this discussion, because as I said, I was only going to show how his receipts actually prove that the movie we got is kind of still in George Lucas's vision. We see in Mandalorian that Luke Skywalker is training Jedi's. We see that the Empire is going away to become the First Order. And somewhere out there, Princess Leia is trying to rebuild stuff. So yes, we are getting that. But we're getting it because they knew they had to go backwards. And you know how well prequel series work. So doing a TV show with this was probably a really good thing, don't you think? Everybody loves The Mandalorian and everybody loves Grogu. And it's turning out to be a nice little story arc connecting Return of the Jedi to our sequel trilogy. So just keep watching it, and keep watching with an open mind, because they are planning on filling in these gaps, and they are planning on filling them in a way that satisfies George Lucas's original vision. Are they going to change things along the way? I'm sure they will change one or two things. I'm sure we will get a few more expanded universe people. I'm sure we will get a few more expanded universe ideas. But ultimately, this is about the connective tissue between what George Lucas had intended to do and what the sequels had to do in order to be made without recasting all the people as younger than what they were. So I'll leave you with that part there on that subject. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. What you think about the way that Mandalorian is working to connect this. Do you think that Star Wars Theory's receipts actually hold up, and that George Lucas is completely now out of the loop, and only now are we getting to see where the plans are starting to alter back to the way he had it? Or do you see where they had to go now? Let me know in the comments what you think. Moving on to our topic number 2. Okay, so topic number 2. Is Cara Dune coming back to Star Wars? No, she's probably not. This came across my radar on Wednesday. I didn't have time to look it up. I was on my way to my D&D game. One of my players was there early, and we got to talking for a brief second about this, and she was smart enough to look it up, because critical thinking is important. You can't take things just at someone else's word. You can't take things at face value on news sites that you read. You do have to do your research. And since I hadn't had time to do my research and was just mentioning it in passing, she actually looked it up, and she told me, no, I'm pretty sure this is the thing that you were finding out about. It said that Cara Dune was thinking about making a Star Wars-esque movie. So not coming back to Star Wars, but making a Star Wars-esque thing. So that is what happened there. Now, I didn't ask her what article she was reading, because we kind of moved on in topic. But when I got home, I made sure to look it up. I did find things by We Got This Covered. So trustworthy. And We Got This Covered said that she was doing this out of revenge. Okay, so she's doing this out of revenge. Well, I looked into it a little bit more. I happened to find a video by Mike Zero. And Mike Zero said that Kathleen Kennedy was responsible for her firing, and that it was rumored that she would be coming back, that the fans had spoken and maybe she would be coming back. I don't believe this for a number of reasons. Number one, if you're talking about Kathleen Kennedy targeting someone personally, that's a little above, a little below her pay grade. Okay, she doesn't care what the actual actors or actresses are doing in their personal time. If she has to care, she simply tells whoever is in charge of whatever project they're working on to handle it to the best of their ability. Think about it like this. If you're working somewhere and your boss tells you to stop and not do something again, a good employee will say, yes, I'm not going to do that again. Um, a bad employee could just continue on. Well, a bad employee is going to be punished, maybe even fired. This is what happened to Gina Carano. Was she intentionally a bad employee? That's up to debate. Ultimately, though, she was asked to stop doing it. She did not do it, and she got fired. Whether you agree with her firing or not is irrelevant. The fact that Mike Zero blames Kathleen Kennedy for some of this, though, even for a brief second, actually is kind of wrong to do. Because she would have nothing to do with Gina Carano's series. Kathleen Kennedy is a figurehead and pretty much nothing more. She oversees the overall, not the individual. But that's a whole nother ball of worms to get into that we're not going to get into this time around. Nor do I actually want to hear how bad Kathleen Kennedy is in the comments, because saying that someone's a bad person when you don't know them makes you kind of seem a little mean. Saying someone's a bad person based on what you're reading without doing any actual research on this person, their life, their beliefs, their overall behavior in public and otherwise, is also wrong. I have actually read places where people wanted Kathleen Kennedy to have disaster befall her. Wishing harm on any person is just trashy. It's horrible. We shouldn't do it as a society, and I know that we end up, there are those times, and there shouldn't be. As fans, we get mad that our favorite actor has been replaced. We lash out. This doesn't make it right. And Cara Dune did get in trouble. She was asked to stop. She did not stop, and she got fired. Will she come back? It might be possible, although I seriously doubt it. I do not think we will be seeing her come back into this series. And then it goes, there's this whole thing about productions being held up because of Cara Dune's firing. This is not true. That series wouldn't be getting started filming for a little while either. The whole thing is now we have to wait until 2023, according to Mike Zero, for Mandalorian. As of the last time I looked, which was the other day, Mandalorian is still scheduled for Christmas Day. We are actually getting, before that, the Book of Boba Fett. So right now, unless that has changed and they haven't made that announcement, Mandalorian has already started filming. So is it a problem that she was fired? No. They probably replaced her with a character that already exists within the plot. It will come through flawless. You won't really notice, other than maybe you miss Cara Dune. So with that, we'll move on to topic number 3. Okay, so breaking down topic number 3. Is Brie Larson going to be our next Jedi Knight? This article came from We Got This Covered. I am not quoting from that article. I am they they also have said in this article that this news was broke by Mike Zero. Mike Zero is another big YouTuber. I'm not going to break down everything that's said in the article, but I will give you the rundown of what Mike Zero said on his channel because I did watch the video. That being said, I'm not going to link to that video or Star Wars Theories video in our video. The reason being I'm still small fries and I don't want to link to them and stir the pot any more than if they would just magically see this video. I am simply commenting on news that I heard. I actually love listening to Star Wars Theory, as I said earlier. So no ill will is ever meant towards him when I'm talking about things he said or breaking anything down. With Mike Zero, the topic's a bit harder. Because Mike Zero put forth this video. And We Got This Covered, picked it up. They said, YouTuber Mike Zero has broken this news. His sources have broken this news. It should be noted that within the Star Wars film industry, within the people involved in the Star Wars films, apparently there's this phrase that they like to use when someone messes up or maybe says something they shouldn't have said or something like that, and it is that, oh no, you zeroed it. The reason this is relevant, and we know this, is because Rian Johnson said it in a tweet when talking about the wild and crazy ideas that Mike Zero throws out there. Now, I don't have a problem with Mike Zero or his wild and crazy ideas. If that's your cup of tea and you want to see all this craziness, then by all means, definitely check him out. But I'm merely reporting on the fact that We Got This Covered, picked this up as actual news. And within less than 5 minutes, I was able to debunk the entire thing. So bringing you this news to tell you that this is not a real thing, I feel as part of our fandom, as part of any fandom, the importance of getting news that is true is important. It is very important. We have to, as a fandom, know what's going on in our own fandom. We have to be able to think critically. You're going to get sick of me saying that throughout my videos. But it is very vital that we all think critically. That being said, with the Mike Zero situation, he started talking about how Brie Larson has signed on to be in a brand new Disney Plus Star Wars series. She's going to be playing a Jedi that is neither light side nor dark side. So, what? Gray Jedi? Can we just say Gray Jedi? She's on the run from some sort of alien race that is outside of the galaxy. They're looking for this power source that will make her the most powerful Jedi ever. More powerful than Luke, more powerful than Vader, and more powerful than Rey. So, right there, you have this alien race that we haven't met that's coming in to follow her to try to stop her. She leads them into our existing Star Wars galaxy. That right there sounds a bit weird to me. Then it goes on to say that whatever this power source is, the series will be about her acquiring this, getting this, and ultimately becoming the most powerful Jedi ever. I have a big problem with this as a show, in that I don't think that any of it's true just upon listening to it. It doesn't sound like something that we're going to get. But if we are, let's say we are, and let's say his source is absolutely right. Well, then there's one more problem. This series can't star Brie Larson. Brie Larson cannot be in this series, guys, because if you do a quick amount of little research, you're going to find that Captain Marvel is scheduled for a 2022 release, the same year that this series is supposed to be done. This does not include any cameos, any work she has to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe that has to be filmed within 2021, 2022. Then she is starring in an actual TV series. She's gonna be in a TV series on a streaming service. It's some sort of historical thing about a scientist that ends up getting pregnant. I don't know a whole lot more about it, but that is a thing that's supposed to be coming relatively soon. So probably within 2022 you're looking at, because it's after she films Captain Marvel. Then a quick search of Wikipedia on her page telling what she has coming up also says that she has 3 other projects coming up. She's supposed to be playing the very first female presidential candidate, an actual historical figure, so another historical piece. And if she could pull that off really nice, then okay. Because actually, I remember seeing this topic for the first time about the female presidential candidate from this show that Robert Wall was doing on HBO. And he had said, it was kind of a joke. It was kind of talking about the funnier things in history. So he would go fact or fiction type of thing. And at one point, he shows this girl and he says, "Tell me this does not look like Maggie Gyllenhaal." So the presidential candidate, you can't really deny, kind of has this Maggie Gyllenhaal type of look. And, I think that's a missed opportunity. If I was a casting director and I was like, wow, okay, this looks like her, I probably would have casted her. But that's Hollywood. So that's a role that Brie Larson is going to have. Now, that being said, there's also a couple other roles. So you tell me how someone that's basically doing about 5 things is going to be in a top secret Star Wars series. The internet would break. Feelings of Brie Larson aside, the internet would break. I'm going to tell you an interesting story now. A lot of people who know me think that I am this huge, massive Brie Larson fan. This isn't necessarily the truth. I know Brie Larson from some of her earlier movies and kind of said, okay, she has potential to be a good actress. Let's see where she goes. So when she was cast as Captain Marvel, I was a little bit excited to see where she would take this character just because I had seen her previous work. Now, all of a sudden, backlash, it's popular to hate Brie Larson. Everyone jumps on this bandwagon. There's this one YouTuber, I'm not going to mention the name of this YouTuber because I don't even want to give the dude the time of day. And I don't want anybody going over to his channel to actually say anything to him. But he was talking about Star Wars for a very long time. And he was spreading nothing but hate about everything to do with Star Wars. And it was only focused on what he didn't like. Like, he literally only talked about everything he didn't like. And he's actually one of the main reasons, because they keep putting him in my posts, even to this day, they keep putting this guy in my posts, in my feed. And I'm like, I don't want to watch his videos. I have actually clicked numerous times to get rid of his videos from my feed. Then every time I try to put something Star Wars related back in there, eventually he's right back in my feed. So what can you do? Now, I don't know if that's just because of the types of videos that come up about Star Wars, but, well, eventually he ends up in my feed again. But this is the situation with that. He started talking about everything he hated about all the Star Wars stuff. And he did this for 900 plus videos. No joke. When that became unpopular, the Brie Larson situation popped up. He instantaneously started talking about how horrible the person Brie Larson was and about how talentless she is and wishing harm upon her. Yeah, he actually is one of the people that I have seen wish harm on celebrities that he don't like. And it wasn't until she hosted a late night show that he said something positive about her. But it was the most horrible positive thing he could say. She was wearing something that was a little sexier, and he said, now, if she had been dressed like that during Captain Marvel, then we'd be talking. And I went, wow. But just the simple fact that this guy was so hateful, at one point, I just kind of had to say, yeah, thanks for making me a Brie Larson fan, because now, you know, you put me in this situation where if it recommends your videos to me, I'm just not going to watch because I already know your routine. And I never watched as videos after a certain point because every single one was sour. And I was waiting for the non-sour stuff to happen, and it just never did. About every topic he discussed. And then he did one or two movie reviews, and I thought, okay, let's give him a try again, because all of a sudden he's done a couple movie reviews. Well, every movie review he did was completely bashing the movie. So he didn't talk about the one movie he mentioned in the comments that he liked. And I'm like, why? Why wouldn't you talk about the one movie that you mentioned in the comments that you liked? So basically, when it comes to Brie Larson, that's my stance on her. It's not that I am some massive, huge fan of hers, but I appreciate the fact that as an actress, she should only be held accountable for her acting. And she's done nothing wrong to me personally within the Marvel Cinematic Universe to where I can go, she's not a good actress. Are there better actresses? Yes, there are. Yes, so there really are better actresses. But as a Star Wars fan, I want other Star Wars fans to get everything they want. I want her to be able to star in a Star Wars movie simply because she's one of us. How much would you love to star in a Star Wars movie? Of course you would. And that's the thing. But this isn't happening. This is not happening. She is not going to be in some new Star Wars series unless they are keeping that so completely under wraps. And then what kind of god magic are they doing to make sure that she can film all this other stuff and then still have time to film her own Star Wars original series? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. And a little bit of critical thinking goes a long way. It shouldn't make sense to you either. So that's the news I've heard on Star Wars this week. This video is a little longer than our normal ones, but sometimes that's the way it's going to be. Looking forward to seeing you all again in the next video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and while you're down there, hit that little notification bell so you know when to come back for the next video. And in the meantime, we will see you all next time. So, everybody, have a nice day. And most important of all, remember, be safe out there.